I'm just going on at home. I just had to leave.
Famous last words.
Dessert came out. I've had to go.
The excuse not to have.
Is it? What was
You okay?
That's really
What was it?
Good evening, and welcome to this meeting of Woodley Town Council's planning and community meeting being held today, Tuesday, the 29th of April. Woodley Town Council meetings are now recorded, with recording streamed live and stored on the Town Council's YouTube channel. By virtue of attending the meeting, you consent to having your image and audio recorded for this purpose. If you do not wish for your image and audio to be recorded, then please do not stay for the meeting. For those in attendance, we're not expecting the fire drill tonight. So if you hear the fire alarm, please head to the nearest fire exit and congregate at the fire assembly point by the Oakwood Centre at the front of Woodford Park. Thank you. For your benefit, we have a little bit of housekeeping to go through first of all before we get on to the planning decisions. So once again, do we have any apologies, Kevin, please?
Yes, Chair, we have apologies from councillors Horskins, Jewell, Lewis, Soane and Taylor, and Councillor Horskins has joined us virtually.
Right, thank you. Have we got any declarations of interest?
Nothing.
Just so you get confused. Okay. Minutes of the Planning and Community Committee held on the 1st of April on page 5. Has anyone any comments to make, or are you happy for these to be signed? Okay. Thank you. I will sign those when this meeting finishes. Page 13, we have actions and follow-ups. I think most of them are quite straightforward. The cycling and walking group, we all had a memo, I think, from Councillor Taylor regarding the progress of that.
We have a follow-up question, which obviously Julie can't answer because she's not here. But if Kevin can take it and go back, I've noticed the last few meetings there has only been Carol, June, and someone from the local gamblers. There doesn't seem to be anybody from cycling at all, and there was two. So if we could get an update, I think June is the chair, isn't she?
Yes.
Yeah, update from June saying have they, resigned, are they retired, are they just busy, etc. Because it is fundamentally a cycling run, cycling and walking, but the priority is cycling, and it's important to have those two communities, so two cycling associations or whatever.
I did see on that agenda, or that memorandum that came out in June, there were a couple of people who didn't attend.
No, that's what I'm saying. And they didn't attend the previous meeting as well. So I'm just asking for clarification. Yes. What is the current situation? I would have asked you directly, but she's not here.
Right. Do we have any further information on 116 regarding the notice board at Rodden Park?
I have received 2 responses from different management companies who are not claiming responsibility for it, so I will continue to find out. I think there were 4 companies involved, and I haven't narrowed it down yet to who owns it.
Can't we just put it up?
Right.
And see what happens?
Well, it's there. It's just locked and just sat there.
Well, can we put up one of our own? Can advertise the theatre as well then.
Right, okay.
They did.
Right, okay, well, we'll go on then to item. Items 5 on the agenda, current planning applications. Now we have a lady here regarding the first application, 250730 25 Coleman Small Lane. Would you like to address the committee first of all?
Sure. My name is Melissa Grange. I live at number 23. I think you can see the plans on the screen there. So right away you can see the proximity of the east facing gable to my house is touching in 2 places. When this was drawn to scale, this is actually crossing my boundary by about 50 inches actually. I've got half of my side entrance being overlapped by these drawings. So they're obviously inaccurate to start with. Going by the council's guidelines, they're not within a metre of the boundary. So again, the plans are inconsistent with guidelines from the council. Alongside that, there is a drainage issue that I'm experiencing at my property, being that I'm at the junction of 25 and 21. There's manholes under my property. They're old clay pipes, and at the moment I'm experiencing a rodent issue which Thames Water is trying to fix. They've discovered holes in the pipes which run under 25 at the moment, and I'm actually waiting for them to come out hopefully on the 2nd of May to repair these holes. So the impact of having a dwelling of this size is going to put huge impact on the drains as they currently stand. As well as I've uploaded a document that explains it further, that the drainage coming from rainwater alone on the roof area that's being proposed in this drawing is quite extensive. So all of that's going to be drained along a slope of Coleman Small Lane, which is on a hill, straight towards my property, with no consideration of how this water is going to drain off. Alongside that, there's the actual design of the dwelling. So a lot of the properties are on a curve, so we've all got like pie-shaped gardens, and the size of this dwelling is going to seriously impact how the flow of that, how we all have our dwellings. None of the properties have elevations this high. They're all in keeping with the style of the existing properties. They've got hips and valleys, and my own property has an extension that follows the original design. This is just big square blocks that are being added on in 2 different levels onto this property and adds no visual appeal whatsoever, in my opinion. As well as that, there is, let me just remind myself. I have a light issue, so I've got 2 Velux windows on my east facing side that are going to be facing a big white wall when this property goes up. So again, that's going to impact how I'm currently living, how I currently have light coming into my property. So they're the basics of my objections at the moment, and I've reached out to Mr. Bellows to support my objection, and he has agreed he will do that, and I'm hoping to meet him this Friday.
Right. Keith.
Can I say congratulations on your very good documented paper. I haven't seen anybody do that before, apart from maybe a councillor who was working on that. It was really good. So thank you for that. So some of the things you're talking about, let me take the drainage. One of the statutory consultees will be Thames Water, right?
Okay, fantastic.
Not for us,
So they'll
but when it gets to the borough. And the
have
problem, the potential problem is you made everything you said, you know that is true. It's a bit like the Showcase Cinema. Everybody told them about the horses in the water, And Thames Water said, not a problem. Well, you know, so the potential problem, just so you're aware of it.
Yeah.
If they come back and say, there is no problem, we're working on it, and we assume that our solution will be okay. Anything you say or I say, or even Greg says, isn't actually going to cut it. So just be wary of that. The boundary one's an interesting one. The building guidelines are exactly that. They're guidelines. And time again, those guidelines are ignored. Whether they're ignored from a valid point of view or not. So yes, you're right to raise it, but the law says, the planning law says, you can actually build right to the boundary. That's the law, not the guidelines. Okay. It'll be possibly a flip of the coin on what, you know what I mean? It's what the planning officer decides. We've had many applications coming through. Not as big as this, right? Not as necessarily impactful as this, but they're all been up to the boundary. You know, so what I'm trying to do is, I don't want to give you false hope.
So Inspector, I appreciate that, but as you can see, the scale of the drawing is showing it crossing the boundary considerably.
Right, sorry, I'm trying to remember everything you said.
Yeah.
Crossing the boundary is a building control matter. It's a post-planning. You probably don't know this, but for instance, I could put in a planning application to demolish your house and build a new one. I can do that by law. Would I ever be able to do that? No, because you'd never allow it. Okay, so that's when building control get involved, and they are usually pretty, or they were in my day, some time ago, pretty hot on making sure that they don't overstep. I can give you a personal example. It's a long time ago. I had an extension down here in Reading Road. It was meant to go to the boundary, or the guttering was meant to go to the boundary. It went over, and quite rightly, the building control inspector said no, and they had to move it back. Okay. Again, you're relying on somebody else to do that. I'm trying. I think I've covered all. No, it's a difficult one.
It is, because it's huge. It's basically the design, as you can see from the document I submitted. It's like 3 shipping containers. There's no consideration to the original design, and it just looks like it's going to look like a nice all on the street.
Okay, that's another point you made. Thank you. Original design. The only thing that planning officers in Chewtown will be looking at is what they call the street scene.
Yeah.
Right? Standing in the street, if that, whatever they do there, how different is that going to be from all the surrounding houses? If you're in a, for argument's sake, a terrace, you know, where everybody is very similar, if somebody tries to do something significantly different, they will say, no, we can't approve that because it violates the street scene. You're not, it's not as simple as that here, because as you pointed out, and I know this area, I think we all do, you know, you're on a bend, you're all relatively individual properties, you know, that there isn't sort of one size fits all. So for me personally, I don't know what to do. It's, my final comment, by the way, is we have, from a weighting perspective, the town council has no more weight than you have. Often people, okay, but often residents sit there and they think, oh, if we recommend refusal or object to it, we can stop it. We can't. It's just like
I've read that you can't.
Yeah.
No power of
So I really don't know. I don't know whether to vote for an objection, whether to vote for approval. At this moment in time, I'd like to go out the door and wait for the next one.
I must admit, on a personal basis, I thought it was overdevelopment, point one. And the street scene, I think, is obvious because of the flat roofs.
You've got to remember, you've got flat roofs already there, Chair. The white area is a flat, correct me if I'm wrong, it's already a box and a flat roof. So someone could easily argue, I'm not saying I'm going to, but someone could easily argue that there's a precedence there. It's a big flat roof there already. What's going on the side is really just extending that, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just
Janet.
going to say exactly what you just said. Wouldn't we normally say if we want to object overdevelopment compared to the shape of the site?
So
And it looks, and is that saying the parking for 3 cars then?
Yeah,
that's suggesting parking for 3
it's a big area.
It's a sizable driveway.
It's because it's the shape, isn't it? Yeah. But my first thoughts are overdevelopment. Surely if we're going to object, well, that would be my only thing, and the street scene.
My counter is the street scene. I don't think really will, right, that's just me.
Yeah.
Okay, we're all individual. If you basically took the whole block and made it all white.
You think it would blend in or?
No, I mean, at the moment, it's hitting you in the face
Mm.
because you've got all that
Because it's
hashing.
different colours, yeah.
Yeah, if it was white, all white, with, you know, just like the next door neighbours,
The drawing, you mean?
I just wonder if you've actually done the calculation, because you're so comprehensive in your document. What is the sort of square footage of that compared to the other two?
I'll compare to the other two.
It's such a shape, it's such a strange shape, isn't it, that one?
Well,
Those whole three
yeah.
properties.
it's,
I don't have them, I'm afraid. But, yeah, reviewing compared to my drawings and my side expansion, I mean, I had the ground floor dwellings there when I moved in and I built up.
But I mean, what I meant was the whole area.
The whole
Forget whether it's extension or
Difference
not.
in size of the original.
Yes, but compared to yours, it's not triple your size.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the point I'm making. If we want to say it's overdevelopment, usually that means it's 50%, 100%. No, it is in your face. I personally, as I said, I don't know what to say.
Arvinder.
Yeah, I think I believe according to her, we need to raise this issue to Bara, and then we can request for the review. That one. So at least, but instead of giving any recommendation or whatever, we need to raise this issue. So at least resident, she needs to clear all whatever the. Because.
So I think what you're saying is, we often, when we're in this sort of dilemma, we'll often essentially sit on the fence, but say, please, can you make sure that the residents' objections and comments are taken into consideration? So it gives a little, it's not as much weight, you know, as if we said, we object to this.
So they can send you more details and explanations, what's the reason why it's.
Would you mind us actually mentioning you by name in our response? Because as I said, I think you've done a wonderful job. You must have spent a lot of time.
Yes, we did a lot of measuring and digging out old files and boundary files, etc. So yeah, it's quite impactful to me. If this goes ahead, I will look at the area because it's such.
Linda, have you got any, sorry, have you got any comments you want to add?
No.
No?
So could I, Chair, can I suggest that we make no comment, but we stress that the neighbours' comments, especially Melissa, isn't it? Mr. Graham?
Grange.
Grange. Mr. Graham, are taken into consideration.
I must admit, my own feeling was that we should actually say that we lean towards objecting to this for the overdevelopment of the property. But in any event, all consideration should be taken of the neighbours. That's my comment.
So you're proposing
I'm
an objection.
proposing objection.
Okay, I will abstain on
Take a vote on it.
Yeah, I'm objection.
Parvinder?
No, well, that's why I request already, because I don't want to go for objection before reviewing anything. So I will only request they needs to review again, and they needs to work on that one. Actually,
So that would be an abstention.
That's an abstention. Linda?
Based on what I've heard, I would an objection.
In objection.
So you got two so you're custom.
So, yeah. We would object on the grounds of overdevelopment.
That's three agreeing objection and two
Yeah.
abstaining.
But if the council so decide to consider the proposal, then full consideration should be given.
Yeah.
To the complaints of the residents.
And particularly number 23.
Are you okay with that?
You can,
Yeah.
you can name them.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
Am I done?
Right, well, before we move on to the next one, you're welcome to stay for an enjoyable evening, or you may leave if you wish.
I will depart if that's okay.
You've got to watch it there.
Most-
Thank you very much for listening and reviewing. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Really super.
Sorry?
Really super.
Yeah, it was. I looked at it, I thought, hang on, who's written
There
this?
was one bit where I understand why it was done that way. It implied that the existing white flat extension was part of this plan. And when you saw the picture,
Yeah,
that's why I was talking about the square footage.
yeah.
Because I think it's probably only about 15–20% bigger.
Yeah.
I just think it's a shame that if to take into consideration, you have got a neighbour, wouldn't it be nice to sit down? I know you're.
But they might have done that.
Yeah, maybe we could, adjust it and
Who knows?
we've got to live
Yeah.
together. And maybe that's a
No,
very, yeah.
and I know as my neighbours, I
Yeah.
spoke to them before I even
That's
put
the
the
sort of thing I
plans
need.
in.
Yeah.
Right, moving on to 250831, bungalow, it's number 72 Headley Road, Woodley. And I'm presuming the bungalow part was an earlier extension put on the back of the house, 72B. But it's householder application for the proposed erection of a single-storey side extension, plus changes to the fenestration. Personally, I didn't see any objection to it, particularly with no complaints or comments made by neighbours.
No,
I'm happy with that. Right, 250878, 146 Butts Hill Road, which is householder application for the proposed erection of one detached outbuilding. Now, I hate these outbuildings, I really do. But I couldn't see any objection to it.
it's just going on top of the
Yeah,
where the slab is.
Yeah.
yeah. It seems to meet all the
I think it's a good
requirements.
It's not a garden.
Okay. 250909 is 42 Dunbar Drive. And that's householder application for the proposed erection of a single-storey rear extension following conversion of existing garage to create habitable accommodation. Now, again, I had no objections to that. Okay, so moving on, 250651, 120 Fairwater Drive. Household application for a proposed single-storey side and rear extension. Again, I had no objections.
Keep going.
Object. So 250-755, 53 Drovers Way. Householder application for the proposed erection, single-story rear extension following demolition of the existing rear canopy roof and detached outbuilding. Again, it's, I had no problems with it.
No, we know.
250-759, 45 South Lake Crescent. Application for the proposed erection of a single-story side extension following demolition of the existing single-story side extension, plus changes to the fenestration. In my mind, that was really a like-for-like development. 250-796, 1 Kingfisher Drive. Application for proposed garage conversion into habitable accommodation to form an annex, plus the front canopy over the porch and changes to fenestration. Now, unless anyone else has comments, I have no problem. 250-807, this is 26 Fitzroy Crescent. Application for proposed erection of a new conservatory following the demolition of the existing. Again,
So that's, yeah.
Interesting.
I'm going to leave the next one until last. The land at Headley Road. So we'll move on to 243015, 25 Kingsford Close, which is householder application for proposed two-story side extension. Again, I had no problems. 250913, 13 Wilmington Close, proposed erection of a single-story front extension to form porch following demolition of existing porch.
Okay.
I saw nothing wrong. 250923, 59 Woodlands Avenue. Application for erection of single-story rear extension following part demolition of existing living dining room and chimney, plus conversion of the loft, including the insertion of 2 dormers to create first floor habitable accommodation. We've all seen many of those in Woodlands Avenue. No problem. 250932, 179 Loddon Bridge Road. Full application for erection of 1 4-bedroom dwelling to include roof lights, plus restoration of entrance brick wall following demolition of existing dwelling.
I had no problems with it. In fact, I was quite pleased because the existing dwelling is falling down.
The only thing I wondered, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's a 4-story, a 4-bedroom, double-story property stuck between 2 bungalows.
Yeah, that was the only thing I thought. Does it
Is
sticks
that the
out?
one
You
that
know,
had the
street scene again.
illustrative drawing in the middle? There we are. If you look at the existing, there's one of the things that it actually looks from the front. You're looking at the front of the 3 properties.
Didn't like that one.
That's great. It's not there.
Existing.
No, it's got the 3 side by side.
I think it's.
Yeah, it's,
No, it's not that one.
Right.
Because it shows you the height, and the
Yeah.
height is the same as
That
the.
proposed illustrations.
Have you got street view?
yeah, that's the one, I think.
Yeah.
Behind them.
Oh, you did one.
This is this struggling for me. It's this one.
Because the pink is the same as the
Yeah.
property on the
Yeah,
left-hand
yeah.
side.
But
Oh, no, that's the one, yeah,
What is it?
yeah. That's why I thought it stood out rather. Then I suppose if the others had built on, done a loft conversion, they would probably be similar, wouldn't they?
Well, the one on the left, I think both of them have done loft conversions, because they've both got dormer windows.
But not the ones that come out the side.
but that was the only objection.
I don't,
I had to it.
I don't have a objection to it on that basis.
Barbinder?
It's fine, but there's any objection from the right hand side or
I don't.
of the neighbor?
So there's no comments on the, well, actually, I think from memory, there's one from Carol Jewell, isn't there?
Yes.
Which is just
But she's,
mentioning the
yeah, it's not really for or against.
No.
Because she's in a
She's
very,
just-
very difficult position, being chairman of planning.
Yeah.
She has to play it very, very carefully.
Yeah.
I thought.
That's fine.
So,
Yeah.
but I'm happy to let that one
Yeah.
pass.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to the one at Headley Road East, 250823. I'm not going to read all through it, but yet again, it's application to vary condition 32, which was also put under 241926, approved contrary to council recommendations. To me, it is
It's approved.
exactly the same.
I couldn't find anything in there
No,
that was different. I looked, I actually went onto the website on the planning portal and had a look at it. And that text is exactly this, it is what?
yeah, it's more or less word for word.
Yeah, well, it is word for word.
And so, in my mind, that's been approved
No comment.
against,
I see that's an error of some kind, but I'll make it
yeah,
common in there again.
okay.
Because it's no good doing, one thing we put the same disagreement, and now discourage.
That's right. Right,
Good.
so moving on to item 6, we've got planning decisions. And the only one that's different to what we suggested is land at Headley Road, which was approved by the council, contrary to ours. So that's for note. Right, so moving on to item 7, planning appeals. The note of planning appeal at Wilmington Close, which was dismissed. Item 8, we got a prior approval application of 7 Hitch Hill Close. Does not require consultation from us at all. 9, we got listed building consent application on 11 Headley Road, but that requires adjourning neighbours only. Adjourning neighbours. Item 10, review of the premises licence application. Now, we all received notification from Wokingham Borough of plans to remove the licence. Why, I don't know, but I presume it's been selling alcohol or cigarettes.
Careful. This is being recorded, so I wouldn't second guess anything. Let's be safe, because this is going to be on
Right.
public consumption.
My apologies, you are right.
Councillor Hawkins with his hand up.
Robert.
Yeah, cheers, David. Yeah, you are sort of right. In the paperwork that was sent out, it did say that there had been, I think it was 11 instances where people underage had bought alcohol. He'd also been selling illegal alcohol. and they had done some test purchases as well. It was all in that documentation that was sent out a few weeks ago. So that's why he's had to have this license come up.
Thank you
Oh,
for
and
coming
I've
to my rescue.
yeah, and I have had communication from quite a few. Well, 3 residents in Brecon Road have contacted me to say that they've noticed that children are going in there and coming out with stuff in the past. People who live overlooking the shops there, so that's why it's come up.
Right. But we've only just got to note this, we haven't got to put any.
No, because we have the opportunity cost.
Yeah. Right, item 11 on the agenda, we've got the cycling and walking task finish group. Now, that meeting held on the 22nd of April. I think it was this morning the minutes came through, wasn't it? But we can't really discuss the outcome of that until we've got Councillor Taylor or Councillor Jewell available. Item 12,
By the way, Chair, can I just, it's very, very unusual that the number of people from WBC equaled the members of the committee. I don't remember ever being in a committee with WBC people there, whether they're mob-handed like that.
Yeah.
Good to see them.
It was a good day out.
Yeah.
Right, moving on to item 12 on the agenda, transport and highways, community speed watch. June is not present to give us an update on that situation. Highways issues. Does anyone have any highways issues to highlight? Right, moving on to item 13, community issues, to highlight and discuss any recent community issues noted by members. Right, item 14 on the agenda, publications, information. We note the receipt of the newsletter from Promise Inclusion in March 25. That's the only one we've had, isn't it? Yes. I think, so move on to item 15, which is future agenda items. Does anyone have any suggestions for future agenda items? Publicity and website. Consider suggestions for items to be publicised. I mean, they might want the cycling and walking group update put on the website.
Yeah, I'll have a conversation with the chairman about that. I'm sure we can.
Yeah. But other than that, I can't think of anything. Right, so last but not least, move on to enforcement issues, which are on page 21. Always amuses me when one of the items is a tree being felled without permission. Have you enforced it?
Well,
The gap is out.
Chair, it's a breach reported by a resident.
Yeah.
The chances are it's true, but they may well have had permission to remove it.
all the trees in South Lake are covered by CPO, whether they're worth anything or not.
But I mean, my comment
It's blanket, yeah.
Area.
My comment was more on the generalised matter rather than reference to that one. Hunting Road, driveway, concrete over, Rickman Close, unauthorised metal fence. Enforcement closures, Rossville Gardens, voluntary compliance, Western Avenue, no breach. Travers Perkin, no breach. Rochester Avenue, application has been submitted. And Headley Road East, voluntary compliance. And that is it.
It's got a bit of record.
Thank you very much, everyone.
It's 8:05.
I will close the
Can
meeting.
you encourage the other people not to come again?
Especially this time of year. This time of year.
Are we off air now? Are we off air now?